Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here with Strategy with Jason, and I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is hot, but it is cool in here, and I am with the one, the only, I am told, famous, Rob Mudd. What's going on, Rob? How you doing, man?
Hey, Jason, thank you very much for this invitation to sit down with you. Doing good. Loved being in Vegas. Loved seeing the show last night.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah,
For anybody out there, you don't know what we're talking about. They literally blew up the Tropicana like right outside this,
at 2:30 in the morning.
At 2:30 in the morning. The whole place like shook like crazy. It was definitely something else.
You knew something was going on.
Well, hey, man, I'm so glad that we've had an opportunity to connect and do this. I know I've been wanting to do this for a while. You know, just and man, your experience, your passion, your love for this industry. We got some cool topics we're going to go down to. But here, Rob, I love kicking off these podcasts with a little origin story.
Okay.
A, because I'm always fascinated, right? Because
Yep.
I don't know, he wakes up one morning and goes, I'm going to go spend a lifelong career in the automotive industry. So I'm curious, man, how did you get started in this crazy world we call the automotive industry?
Well, first, I would say I was born in the right family, for one, right? But I have to go back to my dad and how he got in the business. And it's kind of unique. It's real unique. He had a little radio station, a 5,000 AM station that was only could operate from sun up to sundown in the age of FM radio. So, he had some choices to make, and that thing wasn't going to support, 6 kids, right? And so he sold it. Didn't know what he's going to do, but fortunately for us, he had a client by the name of John Deary Sr., and John Deary had 2 boys and 4 different stores and a nephew that ran a bunch of them, or I should say they had 4 and they ran them. And the old man, my dad went and visited him and said, "Hey, John, I'm getting out of the radio business, but I don't know what I'm going to do." And John Sr. takes out his business card and turns it over, writes Jim Mudd Advertising. He says, "Here, you're in business. You can handle my stuff, Danny's stuff, and John's stuff." And that's how it started. So Dad became their ad agency, and with a lot of other clients as well.
What a good friend.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're still a client today, and so it's generational. And then, again, he had another friend by the name of Ray Green, and Ray Green, the Green family in Illinois, had a bunch of stores, and Ray was the NADA president in '86. It got Dad on the podium or the speaking schedule to do a seminar. And it was in New Orleans in '86, and he did it, and boom, man, we were in the car business, ad business. And so
what a fluke series of events,
completely.
man. And then, of course, I mean, obviously now you're born into it at
I'm
this
born
point,
into it,
right? Like it's there's no other option. It's like you're in.
You're in because Dad brought emotion. He fired us up, right? And we've loved the business, and so that's what I've been doing. I think I'm on my 33rd, 34th year.
And I imagine it was a natural transition for him. I mean, because, when you're on radio, you got to be a bit of a character.
Yeah.
You got to have that voice. Like, I do it sometimes, like when I'm doing my intro. My wife occasionally gives me crap. Like, did you just radio voice me?
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah. He had a big baritone voice. And, "Come on down to John Deere Motors. Hurry before the sale ends," And he was good at it.
Yeah.
He loved it. And he was a good radio man. Anyway, I got a lot of stories I could tell, but that's how it came about.
Yeah.
And so my brother Jim is our CEO, and then myself, and then my brother Chris was in the business. I was in a different business. I've got 3 sisters. One was in the business, then she's now in a different business. One's married to a car dealer, and the other one is married to the king of beer nuts, the king of beer nuts.
Okay.
So, but we've all worked there at one time or another.
Man, so it is really a family affair.
It's totally
It's totally cool. It's totally cool. And, man, once it's in your blood, it's in your blood.
In your blood.
Can you literally imagine doing anything different?
I tried. Well, it was still car related. I went and did some software development, which I'm glad I did, because you need to understand how that stuff is made or not made, and the vaporware that a lot of people put out there and so forth. But at the end of the day, my heart is where your home is, right? My home is with the family business.
And I mean, from an advertising perspective, I mean, you guys have been in for such a long. You've seen just the evolution and just the change, and and some things not so much change, like so. It's cool. Here's what I'd like to do, because you've just you've been there, man. You've seen it.
Yep.
I'm curious from your perspective. Kind of let's talk a little state of the union. All right. Where do you think we are right now? Just kind of as an industry, and then also from a marketing perspective.
So we just went through 2 black swan events.
Yeah.
Right? A pandemic and a chip shortage.
Yeah.
And it really put not only the industry, but the country, the world upside down. And now we're all kind of getting out of it, right? And there's still a COVID fog, a COVID haze. Mm-hmm. It's there, and it's real. And it's real for different reasons. I don't think it's real. Don't mean the sickness, getting COVID. I mean the financial burden that it's put on people.
It's huge.
How it's brought a complete different environment with how the government's got involved, right? It changed the car business from being, hey, taken up to I only take orders, which isn't a normal thing. Mm-hmm. And you do that long enough and you forget the principles needed to do it the old way, the right way, the way it's going to be, right?
Right.
And so it's a metamorphosis of taking, 100 years or what of automotive, stopping it, doing something different for 3 years, and now have to relearn 100 years right now.
Right.
With
fast.
Different tools and different
Yes.
players and different understanding. It's more complex now than it's ever been.
I think the customer's more complex now. I mean, I think, it's like, it's not enough that you just meet the expectation, right?
Yep.
It's like even when I got into the business, it was like, hey, you're coming to buy a car. I'm going to help you find that car. You're going to buy that car. And it was simplistic. It was like, I have a need. I'm going to help you meet that need.
Yep.
And that was it. And you didn't need to go beyond that. Now, it's not enough that you just meet the customer's expectations. The expectation is that you have to exceed the expectation.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, they added another layer to the business that never existed, the internet. Right?
So, intraweb thing? Yes.
You used to be invoice pricing. Why would you tell someone you pay for your cars, right? That was back in the day. Well, today it's even worse now if you're the or if you're the car guy and he wants to reach the people how he used to reach it. He doesn't have time necessarily to relearn marketing 101 in the digital age. So he's now dependent more than ever on vendors, partners, or however you want to look at it.
No, I appreciate you use the word partner because I'm trying, like, whenever since someone's a vendor, I'm like, no, because I think there's a wildly different, and I know if you're out there watching and listening, I talked about this many, many years, right? It's like a vendor just meets the expectation, right?
Well, partner, it could be a false expectation,
100%. I think we should talk a little bit about that. I want to go down that rabbit hole. But, but like a partner not only just meets it, but they are there, they want to take ownership of that outcome.
Yeah.
Like they're invested into it, right? Like they're going to come up side by side with me. We're going to work collectively together to hit an outcome. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But the challenge today is that there's before you had to have some knowledge, and I'm not taking shots at people, but
sure,
to be in the ad agency business, you had to be able to buy traditional media. Well, that's a whole different ballgame than buying digital media.
100%.
So you had to have the right people. Then you had to have the creative. You had to have the production capabilities, the distribution understanding, and then the understanding of real KPIs that are worth measuring. And I believe there's 6. There's 1, sir, what's your budget? 2, how many opportunities we deliver? How many did you close? Your close ratio, your gross, and your ROI.
Yes.
Anything else doesn't matter.
I'm with
to
you.
the dealer. To the dealer. Now, they expect you to know what you know to produce on those metrics.
100%.
Not to get them offline with share impressions and stuff that change the language of marketing, change it upside down. They need someone that understands those 6 KPIs that I just shared with you.
And by the way, I found a little rabbit hole because I am loving the fact that you use the word opportunity and not the word lead, because it's another one of those words for me that actually I start to get angry inside. Because like at the end of the day, like what is really an opportunity, right? And it's like an opportunity for me is like someone I can have a conversation with. Maybe this is my dealer hat coming back on because like I did this years ago, and I still do it today, and I'm surprised how many people. I don't give a crap how many leads I get.
Right.
All right, I really don't.
Right.
Because I didn't hire Jill over there because she's like really good at doing 265 CRM tasks. No, I hired her because she's She's fun. She's got a character. She loves people. She loves serving people. Like,
Right.
I want to get them into conversation. So I don't care about leads. I care about conversation. Anyways, I find rabbit holes sometimes. I apologize.
No, that's fine because they've sterilized the language. The
Right?
language used to
Yeah.
mean something, and to me, and what is a lead? Here's what I tell a guy. I just told him this at the show. I said, sir, if your agency doesn't know how many floor ups you get per day, per month, they can't help you sell a car.
100%.
Right.
1,000%.
And when you talk about flow ups, what's that? Well, the up is supposed to be someone that went to this place called your website, looked at stuff, and then showed up at your store,
Yeah.
right? That's the number one metric. How they got there, we'll figure that one out too.
Yes.
But you don't need I don't think, you need someone that understands that you can't sell a car unless they show up. Now, there is
Right.
digital retail, which is about 2%, if that.
But let's talk about, I mean, I love you bring up digital, but
Yep.
the digital retail, again, is just another
Yeah.
systemized
Yeah,
approach
exactly. Right.
to a conversation.
Yeah. It's not one way or the other. It's just
really
another-
just asking questions as you go through these stages, right? Anyways.
And no one's well, I shouldn't say no one. That's a blanket statement. It's very rare that someone's going to buy a car. Well, if you bought Carvana, okay, they did it online.
Yeah.
And some people want to do that. But the majority, so my dad taught us the difference between the masses and the classes.
Sure.
Right? You advertise to the masses, you market to the classes.
That's oh my gosh, I love that one.
You like that
Because
one?
I do that.
That's
Because
the truth.
you're 100% correct.
Absolutely.
That's exactly the way
Yes.
you do it,
Yeah,
right?
This is how you do it. And, what's old is new again. How many times we've heard that. But the reality is that that's true.
Yeah.
And so I find ourselves bridging the gap from old to new without forgetting and understanding that before the digital age was 150 years of other marketing, right? And you got to find the audience, you got to talk to them, you got to tell them what they want to hear, or not necessarily what they hear.
You got to connect with
Yes,
them,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
At whatever level they are. Yep.
And there's got to be urgency built into
Yes.
it, right? And so, and you then have to understand what builds urgency and what drove someone to your lot, and then what creative. It's a ballet if you do it right.
I'm 100%. I call it dance, so it's actually funny
there
you
you
called
go.
it ballet because
Yeah.
I'm totally with you right there.
I would say dance is better.
But you're right. That's exactly what
Yeah.
it is. And the funny thing is that the fundamental strategy that was then is still now, but for some reason sometimes we forget about it. Right? The whole game is a matter of reach and frequency.
Yes, sir. And so what I think, here's my personal opinion of what happened when the digital age came on, is that, the barrier of entry to be an agency when we were coming up was all the things I just mentioned.
Yeah.
The barrier of entry
Knowledge
to
and
be
understanding of those things.
the barrier of entry to be a digital agency was a laptop, and you're in business, man.
Yeah, I didn't
right?
think about that, but I'm following you with this one. I'm with you on this
Right?
100%.
And so I believe that life is a journey, and the further you get in it, the more you understand it, and the more you can help someone else understand it as well, right? And usually that doesn't happen at 25.
No.
But you can learn at 25. So when you get to 55 or whatever age,
right.
you learn wisdom and you understand the nuance, and you just don't get distracted off some little shiny, like the shiny little object over here. You have core fundamental beliefs.
100%.
And my dad said, if you don't
So
stand
I'm
for
gonna-
something,
I'm
you'll
gonna-
fall for anything, right?
Well said. I'm going to assume then you're probably not employing any 25-year-old life coach or business coaches that I'm assuming.
No, but
right?
we employ a lot of smart 25-year-old kids that want to learn the right way,
There you go.
right?
Yeah.
And they want to, and it's not that they're opposed to it. It's they haven't been exposed to different
Exactly.
things, right? So,
I'm going to tell you, my first marketing strategy
Yeah.
was probably a joke compared to the experience and knowledge that I have
right,
that I'm able to
right,
execute today.
Right. So, platforms are built by tech people, and
Mm-hmm.
tech people, unless they understand or have the experience, they will not build in unforeseen consequences, right?
Yes.
And that, when you go down that path, which is AI, right? Junk in, junk out. You think you have a problem with your CRM.
There's, well,
You start going the wrong direction by feeding these AI bots, and they're going to spit out bad answers.
Well, you're 100% right, and then I love the time frame right now because there is and we talked a little bit about this before, because there is, I'm going to call it snake oil because I'm going to call it for what it is. There is some legitimate snake oil in our industry. There really is. So
because they can make money at it.
You see it on you see it in the ad, you see it on the ad side, you see it on the SEO side. I've seen it on the website side. You now are obviously seeing it in the AI side, which, because there are a fair amount of companies out there that are calling themselves AIs, and to your point, is really just a bot at its best, right? And then there are legitimate companies that really are pushing the envelope to do it. So it's again, actually, I like this because I do actually want to go down this rabbit hole with you, because I want to talk a little bit. Let's go on the advertising side, because I think there's
anywhere direction you want to go.
There's some snake oil out there right now
100%.
that just, I would say, popped up in the last 24 months that I thought was gone over a decade ago, but it seems to be resurfacing again. We got a chance to talk a little bit about this before we started recording, so share with the audience kind of what you're seeing out there.
So when we started talking about this, we were talking about understanding the whole ecosystem of the business, right? And in order to be effective for your dealer in putting a strategy together, you can't bifurcate that by having different people from different companies fulfilling a widget piece to the pie,
of course,
that doesn't play good with everybody else.
That's right.
You've got a broken machine. And so then it gets to the credit fight, which I hate. Because if the dealer had the right partner, it wouldn't be about credit. It would be about results for the store.
Exactly.
And that's all that matters, right? But you've got to be willing to understand that it's just not putting a message out there. You got to follow that all the way down to the showroom, in the back end, the close, and the ROI. And if you stop anywhere in that without going to all the way to the end, you've got a broke machine.
Yes.
And you can't do it any other way.
No, you can't. And the fundamental strategy we've talked about of reach and frequency pretty much gets tossed out the window, right? I mean, look, if my frequency is not of quality channels, all right, and my reach is not
programmatic advertising,
right? And my reach is of
junk
bullshit, audiences,
no one ever sees it.
That, like, nobody ever sees it. Then sure, I can sell this, but and I'm with you. And I think this is something that dealers struggle with. Hell, even as a dealer myself, I even struggle with this.
I did too.
How do you know? How do you know what's real and what's not? And you said it a little bit, because I think the first step is, if they don't know,
well, how many ups you got the wrong guys.
that for me is a huge red flag. But I'm sure there's some other red flags too.
There's a lot of money to be made in this business,
there is.
Right? And if everybody is in the confusion business for the dealer, I don't want to help you. I don't keep you confused. They're going to make a lot of dough, right? Not to say the guys don't understand it, but here, car dealers are the best damn negotiators there are in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
Right? So I'm not going to try to out-negotiate the car guy. But the car guy wants to tell us or him or believe himself he understands digital advertising. They don't. There's no way. There's no time. Because if I could show them what I just learned, they would be sick. And they would say, hey, why is this happening? Well, it's because you think, and I'm not taking shots at anybody that has knowledge on this stuff, but it moves too damn fast to catch up and keep up.
Yes.
That's why I believe that Mud Advertising, what we bring to the table, is an understanding of advertising and marketing 360, and we do it all. And we measure the important part, not an impression, not impression share. How many ups do we get this month? And close ratios and growth.
Those are only the activities to get to the results.
Right.
Those are really all that is. I mean, look, guys, if you're out there watching and listening to this right now, and me and Rob are giving you a big warning here, like a seriously big warning. If you are currently buying at an impression level, or someone is selling you at an impression level, I'm not saying they're doing anything shady, but it sure in the hell does open up a fairly large risk and opportunity to sell you some shady crap.
Absolutely. In traditional media, programmatic advertising would have been labeled, or it was labeled remnant. And remnant means stuff no one else wanted to buy. Why? Because it was shit.
Exactly.
Right? And so now they put a neat name on it and package it up in a bow, and they call it programmatic advertising. and because they got a dashboard and da-da-da-da. But, remember swap derivatives back in the housing market? That's what this shit is in programmatic advertising. You think you're buying Disney. Well, you are buying a subset of a Disney property that is a game with a landing page, and they have a strip ad that has your dealership, and boom, that's your CPM.
I literally was having this exact same conversation with a good friend of mine, Brett Hall from EMG, because you just don't know.
You don't know.
The channel literally can show it's Disney. But to your point, it can be a property that have literally no quality
whatsoever
in any way or form. But hey, you can go to your vendor 20 group and tell all your buddies that you're marketing on Disney.
It's insane. It's insane because so in the traditional world, you only had so many choices, right? There was only so many, and you understood they sold it, and they understand how they measure it, right?
Yes.
In the internet, it's endless, man. It's endless.
Well, and that's why it's key to find the right partner, right?
Right.
Because it
totally.
is, because you're right. I'm following you with you. In the traditional, either the mail got sent or the mail didn't get sent.
Right.
All right. Either your spot played on the radio or didn't play on the radio.
Yep.
Like either you were.
They saw their ad on the news, or they
were on the
they
7 o'clock
got
news, or you weren't on the 7 o'clock news. Like it was just that's it. Like there was a simplicity to it, and as much of a monstrous opportunity digital marketing has created, it also has created the opportunity to really do sell some.
So here, third-party lead providers. Okay, Auto Trader. I'll use this as an example. So,
oh man, if you're going down this rabbit hole, I'm totally following you.
Because it's the biggest elephant in the room, right?
Oh man, I should show you some of the letters I've gotten from them.
So I was talking a deal of, I won't say his name, but I was saying to him, I know you're in these third-party guys, and Auto Trader's getting the biggest part of the budget. How do you think they advertise? Mm-hmm. He said, I don't know how. Well, it's not digital advertising. Mm-mm. They do it on television, radio. Exactly what they told you doesn't work. Right? What doesn't work, and what else wouldn't work for them is if the dealer didn't give them their inventory and have to buy it back based off a lead.
Yes.
And the other thing that kills me is that dealers will get on 3 or 4 different lead providers. Well, that falls in the face of I don't want to say not efficient. I'll use that word, right?
100%.
Because if you're shopping and I see something that I like, I'm shopping.
Yep.
It's been registered. I don't need to see it on every damn third provider site because I can see it on your site. So why wouldn't they want to brand themselves instead of the third?
And of course, they'll never link back to your site. Have you ever noticed that? That's
me?
changed. They'll never link back to your site
of course not.
Because I would actually challenge anybody out there to actually read the 24-page data policy agreement on any one of these guys, and you tell me if you actually this data that you guys are generating because of this beautiful car that you went to the auction, purchased, and spent the time to recondition, all right, and paid someone to come out and take the photos of this thing and post it out there. Go read that 24 pages. You tell me who owns the data on that.
I got blackballed. I did a seminar in New Orleans in 2014. It was called CPO Science, right?
Okay.
And it was about, hey, man, all these off-lease cars are coming back, and what are you going to do with them, and blah, 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 blah. Mm. And the third-party piece came up in my presentation, and I was saying, hey, these guys know more about data than you'll ever understand or know because it's not your business, but it's theirs. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, they're going to own the keys to the kingdom, and you're going to be looking from the outside in.
100%.
I got blackballed. Haven't been back since, but I told the truth, and it panned out. Hey. Now, I'm not saying that stuff's bad. It isn't if you know how to use it.
Sure.
And if you know how to combine it and bring it in so you've got a unique, synergistic, congruent message that makes sense and has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then you're counting the right stuff. It ain't a hard game. The hard part is disseminating what's bullshit and what's real.
I think, it's unfortunate, but I think, dealers can almost spend equally as much time doing that than they can actually just planning out the strategies.
Absolutely.
And this is, again, why I always kind of go back. I'm like, it is so insanely key to find a partner, not a vendor in this space, right? Because at the end of the day, this is the person you're going to trust, all right, to help, navigate, what's bullshit out there and what's not. I mean, look, I've been in the agency world. You've been in the agency world your entire life. I mean, we've even been sold bullshit.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. My bullshit meter sometimes doesn't go up. And I've been sold it too. But I get back to those fundamental principles that the old man taught us: market, media, message, measurement. And that incorporates any type of media, right? That's the other thing. People think that digital is a medium under the banner of media.
Yes, exactly.
Right? It's just another avenue.
Yep.
Just like print was. Well, the print guys didn't get into the internet quick enough, and so instead of buying listing line ads and full pagers, now you're buying it from Google, right?
Yeah.
They didn't own it. But
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and I think for everybody out there watching and listening right now, I think what Rob's really hit that's a key message here. It's not. It's the mediums have stayed the same.
Yeah.
It's just the technology has advanced.
Yeah.
All right,
Right.
that bigger screens now becomes a smaller screen, and instead of having one of these inside of the house, the average household has 9 or
Right.
10
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that. So
And that's
it's-
called confusion, right? And so the world that was going to be simplified by this device and how you message is charlatan, man. That's not the way it is. They've
But that's still that old strategy still plays. It
Absolutely
still plays
plays.
out. Like
Because
that's
it's
tried and true. It doesn't,
true
doesn't
north.
change. Yes.
It's true north. Market. You're in a market. That's
Yep.
where your dealership lives. Media. You have different opportunities to touch people with what you want to ask them to do,
Yeah.
whatever that might be. And third, then how are you going to say that? How are you going to represent that message to that person that you think might want to buy a car in a meaningful way?
In a meaningful way that shows some perceived value. Right?
Absolutely,
Like,
yeah.
not what you find value, but what
they
client,
find
value
value in. And then lastly, did it work? Right?
Did more
And
people walk into my dealership?
Right.
Did I have the opportunity to sell more cars?
I remember the day when people wanted to extinguish the word ups. They wanted to get that out of the lexicon of the car business, right?
yeah.
Right? You remember that?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't about the up, it was about the impression. And it was bullshit.
Oh, man, trying to move this over. I
That's
was
what
the
they
same
done?
way. Like I remember my dealer.com, my first dealer.com associate, I think was it 2001 maybe, 2000, something like that. I can't remember, right?
Yeah.
The reports I got from that website was inquiries. Not a lead.
Right.
It was inquiries and form fills. Those are the reports I got. That was it. Not this mystical thing implying that this person was ready to purchase something from me, and all I had to do was just call them.
It was the, what am I trying to say? The Trojan horse
Right.
of the industry was the fact that you had to have a lead provided from the lead provider. Well, they used to have people do that when they walked in the showroom floor, right? That's what they did.
Yep.
But we let these people creep in because they aggregated the dealers, right? And they understood reach and frequency and whatever, how you do that, TV, radio, cable, and digital, of course. You got to have it. You absolutely have to have it. You have to have the space there. But you don't need to buy then the lead from them. Do it yourself.
Exactly.
But then what happened? Well, what happened was, why did they go to used cars? Because the OEM was involved in it.
Good
Right?
point. Very good point.
And so the one thing that dealers always made gross on, they gave it away,
Yep.
right?
They did.
And then guess who owns it?
They let a third party company tell me if my price was good,
Right.
good, better,
Or best.
Yeah. What
Or
the
here's
hell?
a better, right? And then the OEM owns your franchise URL, which you can't do anything with because everyone's a slave of the co-op, and you got to do it the right way, and blah 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 blah. So you've bifurcated your whole business, and now you don't really know what. I am speaking in broad blanket statements. Not everybody thinks this way, but I've come across a lot of people that do. Not because it's their fault. It's what the industry tells them.
Yeah.
I, honest to God, if I own a car store, which I don't, but we work with a ton of them, if the agency you're working with or the digital provider is not asking you how many physical ups you get totality of the month, how the hell can they help you sell a car? Because you got salespeople that you know their close ratio. And if you understand the close ratio, then you know how many ups you need to get. I had a dealer, his name was Fred LaGreca. And he was from Hutchinson, Kansas.
Okay.
And this is probably 25 years ago. I'm down in Tulsa, Oklahoma, visiting a good Chevy store, Keystone Chevrolet, and they're big in used cars. And I get this phone call, and I answer just before you got all kinds of phone calls, right? Is this Robert Budd? Yes. This is Fred LaGreca from Hamilton LaGreca Chevrolet in Hutchinson, Kansas. How are you doing? I said, Fred, I'm down. Great. Thanks for the call. I'm down at Keystone Chevrolet. Oh, you're with Keystone Chevrolet. So we had this conversation about used cars. He said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm in Tulsa, and I'm going to go home. He said, I'm going to send my son after you in his plane. And Freddie had a little Piper. I don't know what it was, but he flew down, picked me up, took me up to Hutchinson. We sat down with the old man, and he was dressed to the nines, clean desk, sitting like this, looking me dead in the eye, says, Robert. And he's got drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes. He's the only guy that can smoke.
Yep.
He said, here's what I know. I know that I need 1,800 gross rating points. And 1,800 gross rating points correlates to 1,800 showroom ups. And my close ratio is at 20%. And this is my gross. And that was the only conversation we ever fucking had.
But
was
that is the type of conversation it needs to have
Right,
now. This
right.
is, I mean,
and he sold 350, 400 cars out of 100.
Yes.
And he sold used cars.
It's funny. I mean, really well said too, Rob. I mean, even like I said, and you're driving this really home, right? This is what it means to be a partner. It
Yeah.
really, really does.
Yeah.
And I think if you're out there watching, listening to this, I think you've got what me and Rob are really kind of driving here
Yeah.
is that you do need to find that right partner, and you do need to be sharing those results, and that needs to be the expectation and the stew. I call it the stew.
Yeah.
All right, the stew of all these different companies and all these different technologies need to be all beating to the same drum
Right.
and heading in the same direction. I know we're towards the tail end of our time, Rob, and I feel like I
I'm
can
sorry, I
easily
could keep
jam
going.
about you. No, dude, I know I could. I could totally easily jam with you like another solid hour. And we're definitely gonna have to do this.
We'll have to do it
100%. We're gonna do this again. But for everybody out there watching and listening now, and would like to maybe connect with you and even continue some part of this conversation
Sure.
because I still
Yeah.
think there's more to
there
the
is. There
conversation
absolutely
for
is more
sure.
to it, 100%.
What's the best way to connect with you?
Well, the best way to connect with me is to send me an email. And my address is rob, R-O-B, at mudd.com. Or call our office, 800-367-6833, and ask for me. And, I'll give my cell number.
Yeah, dude,
Hey, if you
do it.
if you believe anything I've said remotely, because it's true, you can call me. It's my number is 312-515-8510. That's my cell.
That's awesome, man. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to jam with us
Thank
today.
you.
Hey,
I want to say
Yes,
this.
Absolutely.
Thank you for what you do for the business.
Thanks,
right?
man.
Because you've got to reach, right? And there's got to be truth tellers.
100%.
And the truth will set you free, and the truth will take you true north to the right direction. And there's not enough of that. So thank you for allowing me to come and say what I say, but I
man,
believe it, and
appreciate
so
that.
thank you.
That means a lot. Thank
Yeah,
you really
you bet.
much. Hey, if you're out there watching and listening and you want to really say thank you or give either myself, Rob, or me an amazing compliment, I'll tell you the best thing you can do to compliment us is share the show. That means a lot to us. We know it when you share it. All right.
We know it when you show it. We know it when you share it.
And look, hey, if you have a friend, a colleague, or a manager, or even a vendor that needs to maybe hear a bit or pieces of what we've just talked about today, it means so much it means so much to us if you shared the show.
That'd be great.
Hey, everyone out there watching, listening, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have yourself an amazing day,
Thank you.
dude. You crushed that.
Cheers.
You just